I'm making this video specifically for the people who find themselves struggling with body dysmorphia. Now I know the internet's a very, very, very big place. It's like, wow, you're done with school and you're a little small bubble and then you're thrown out straight to the deep end. That tends to be the problem. And we tend to overlook the hard work that we're actually doing, and it's very easy to fall into that trap, especially taking into account the sheer quantity of people out there with all these fantastic physiques to which you will naturally perceive. And I'm saying that because I experienced the same thing myself in my fitness journey. You're on your fitness journey and you started off, you were probably either super skinny or super fat, one of the two. You start getting into the gym or just doing some body weight workouts at home and you actually start to see some progress. But then you go onto social media, you go online and then you compare your physique to people who've been doing it for an extra 5 to 10 plus years than you. And essentially, to be blunt, their physique is a lot better than yours, and that tends to put you down. There is a saying, comparison is the thief of joy. That is so true. And Instagram and TikTok, and you've body dysmorphia, comparing yourself to that, using those platforms is a massive testament to what I just said. It's very easy to fall into the trap. And I've had many moments like this in my own personal life, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And I think the main issue with social media, primarily Instagram and TikTok and whatnot, maybe even put YouTube there, I'm not sure, but primarily Instagram and TikTok, it does ruin our perception of what a natural physique tends to look like. I have a group chat of great friends, right? And I remember back in the day, we would always we would look up to these fitness influencers and we would aspire to have their specific type of physique. Now, I wouldn't say there's nothing inherently bad about that. It just means that fitness influencer has been able to inspire the youth to want to take action. We also often compare our physiques, and we're not compare, but strive to attain a physique similar to our anime heroes, your Gokus, your Vegetas, you name it. But going back to what I was talking about with the whole fitness influencers and aspiring to acquiring a physique like that, and what I'm going to say next is not to say that you are unable to do it, but I don't want you to get disappointed when you do not hit these fitness goals in terms of looking like them. Will you improve? If you work out every day and eat right and sleep right, I guarantee 100% yes, you will be a lot better than you were before. But to compare your genetics to the other neighbor, bearing in mind you have no genetical similarities because you're not from the same family tree, it's just someone you saw from the internet, I think that's very foolish, honestly. Their body functions different than yours. They may have a high metabolism, you may have a slow metabolism. Things work differently. Now, I guess through one side of the coin, the other side of the coin, maybe it could potentially be more sensible to compare yourself to your literal brethren. Say you have a brother, he has a good physique and you don't. I don't think it's too bad to compare yourself to them, because hey, at least you have the same genetics, so you kind of have an image of what it's like. Well, a glimpse of what your physique could potentially look like because your body has the same genetical functions and whatnot. And there's nothing inherently wrong with comparing. Back in the tribal days, the village days, where we probably had about 150, 200 people in the village, that was normal. And even if you were to compare, your neighbor would probably be, probably the senior tribe member, the intermediate tribe member. Just members are part of the tribe. And of course, the person you would look up to the most would be the leader, the grand master of the tribe. And that would be someone you'd aspire to be like. And you would see his brilliant physique that's been sculpted through years of training. And you wouldn't necessarily feel depressed, but more so encouraged to be a glimpse, a beacon of light of what's actually possible for you to achieve. Because you've seen their lifestyle, they live a similar lifestyle to you, but they've just been doing it a lot longer, so it's going to be a lot easier for them. Now, in contrast to the social media aspect, this is where things get really fucked. We have the role models like the tribe leader I described to you. However, it's amplified 10 times, if not 100 times now, because it's wide scale, like I told you, on the internet. It's global now. There's 8 billion people on the planet. I was going to swear, I'm not going to swear this time. No, not today. 8 billion people on the planet. Now, I'm not telling you 8 billion people have the physiques. But even so, you have access to about 8 billion people. give or take. So you're seeing all these physiques around the globe. And there are 8 billion people. So we know that there's always someone better than you. There's an often saying of that. There's always going to be someone better. Absolutely. So even someone better than your tribe leader. So you may see someone on the internet way better than your tribe leader. I guess in a metaphorical sense, tribe leader being the person in your area that you know personally in your own life, and they have a good physique. But you compare it with them, and you kind of degrade his physique, even though his physique's actually good. Going back to the topic, I feel like I'm going in circles a bit. But back to the main primal point, I think we've all forgotten what an actual physique looks like, and I blame social media for that. What they don't tell you is, the majority of the time, these social media influencers, they rely on lighting to make their physique pop. And I don't blame them for marketing purposes, so you have to market yourself. I don't blame them. You have to do what you can, brand yourself, make some money. And it's only right that they showcase the physique that they've worked so hard to achieve in a literal good lighting to accentuate the physique for more clicks. And I don't blame them, as much as it destroys the viewer's mental health. If he were just to take a regular picture, to which you're probably doing and seeing yourself in the mirror all the time, a regular picture of yourself with no lighting, it's very easy to feel discouraged when you compare that, when you're not even in your best angles in terms of physique, with the person who has good lighting. And that alone is foolish. That is the equivalent of, having a spoon and you're having a battle with someone with a sword. You're not going to win with your spoon. So don't play that game. Don't play that game. It's very foolish. And the thing is, most of these fitness influencers are on steroids also. Unfortunately, it is the truth. Not every one of them, but a vast few are on, steroids. And they create these unrealistic body standards on Instagram. And it really just sucks. And I've experienced this myself. And I know a lot of men are experiencing this also with, Instagram problems, TikTok problems. And you can't help but develop body dysmorphia. And I'm speaking on behalf of you guys, because I've been there myself. It's very easy to fall into that trap. Extremely easy. Very, very easy. So they use lighting, established that they use lighting to make their physiques look a lot better. Notice how on Instagram you never see a picture of them on Instagram without good lighting. They're always doing it on the best lighting. This works for everyone. You try it yourself if you don't believe me. Go into an area in your room or just anywhere, maybe even some form of sunlight outside, take off your shirt. Now take a picture of yourself with the lighting around you, and then take a regular picture. When you do that, you'll start to see where I'm coming from. And you'll start to also get the realization of why, when you put it that way, I really shouldn't compare my physique. Second objection is fashion. Clothes. You probably tend to wear your clothes too, but your clothes don't tend to fit you like these guys. And then it gives you the false perception. You may still think that you're too small, or that you haven't been putting enough work in your gym progress. And that thought is naturally going to come when you're comparing the contrast with the fitness influencers who always seem to fit their clothes. Then you tend to have thoughts. Are my arms too small? Is my chest not proportional? Are my shoulders too small? What I found, by the way, the 3 questions I asked, rhetorically, I had all 3 of these issues too. Right? And so I watched these fitness videos also. They were all measuring their arm size. Most of them had like 16 to 18 inch arms, something along the lines of that. I measured my arms and I had about 15.6 inches. And this is flexed. And also, before I dive into what I'm talking about now, I want to make a quick side tangent to also compare. To those with body dysmorphia, do not compare your unflexed arm size with their flexed. This is what I used to always do all the time in the past. I would measure my arm. I used to always be under the impression that everyone measures their arm size without flexing their biceps. Then they would put their answers on the internet. So whenever I'd see people say they had 16 or 18 inch arms, I would always think that's unflexed. Lo and behold, they were actually flexing the whole time. And now when you think about it again, of course they were. Their arms literally get bigger when they tense. Of course they're gonna make that their metric. But the problem I did, and the problem you probably do yourself, you measure your unflexed arms with their flexed arms, and it really messes up your perception of what an arm unflexed should look like in terms of size. By the way, the reason why I'm going into so much detail is because you have body dysmorphia. I do sometimes as well, as much as I hate to say it. And us body dysmorphia folk, which we will get rid of soon, after this video, you will be done. But when you do have it, we've really focused on the physiques and the smallest details. So I was comparing my 35.5 centimeter arms with their supposedly 40 to 45 centimeter unflexed arms. Until I realized most of those fitness influencers anyway, they were only comparing their arms flexed. And I noticed it always tense their biceps when they flex. So that was another mistake I did. And then, like I told you, they usually had like 16 to 18 inch arms. A few of the steroid users, they probably have like over 18 plus. Or unless they're on a massive bulk. And I measured my arms, and I was 15.6 inches. So I actually got the realization, wow, if you want to be very nerdy by the way, 39.8 centimeters flexed. So I'm actually not far off. I'm about 0.8 centimeters away from getting my dream 16 inch arm. So I'm not far from these guys. And I got that realization because yes, I've been training for 5 years. I'm like, oh, I'm actually on these guys' level. But it's really crazy how the Instagram and social media, the lighting, the perception, the filters can really change the whole perception and make you think that you're still way behind than they are, when you're really not. They just have the gadgets to make themselves look a lot better than they really are. Truth be told, you're actually on their, probably, if you've been training for a few years, you're most likely probably on their level in terms of physique. That's what I found out, and it made me feel really better. But then going back to the problem I just spoke about, that I went away from, the clothing. So Golden, if my physique is on their level or a little bit below their level, heck, maybe even above, why is it that their clothing tends to fit and mine does not? Well, I'll tell you why. And this is how I'm going to end off the video. You know, fitness influencers, they tend to wear a lot of muscle fit clothing and slim fit clothing. Now they have the money to actually do this stuff. If you're asking this question about why your clothing doesn't fit, chances are, and don't feel offended when I say this because I'm in the same boat too, you're probably extremely poor and you wear off the right clothing. When I say off the right clothing, I'm simply referring to, you know, the clothing they just have in the shop you could just take. Those type of clothes. You're probably just wearing those, and those clothings, they're usually tailored for fat people. Hence why with the waist section, it's more of a rectangle shape than a suit tailored to a V-taper that comes with a good physique. I'd always measure my arms, and they're about the same size as them. But when they wear their clothes, it's always a lot bigger, or appears to be a lot bigger, even though we have the same size. It's because I'm wearing off the right clothing. This is why I made a video a while back saying men should get their clothes tailored, so you can look just like those guys. The reason why I mentioned that is because it's very easy to feel like your arms are too small. But I also noticed, whenever I do wear fitted clothing, I look exactly like these fitness influencers in terms of arm size, and it's just hugging the sleeves. That's what we all want. Come on, guys. I know you do. I do too. And I probably have that already. It's just that the majority of my clothes are usually poor clothes. They are. But when I say poor, I just mean like off the rack. It's not tailored. So the arm size, it's a one size fits all. That's what I should have said in the beginning. So it fits everyone. And the arm size, this is why your arms, there tends to be a hole, even though you may have big arms, it just still hangs and there's like spaghetti. It makes the illusion that you have spaghetti arms, so you probably really don't in actuality if you were to wear their clothes. So when you do start making money, most definitely invest in getting your clothes tailored so you can look like those fitness influencers too. And I mentioned that because, like I said before, I used to always feel insecure about my body, thinking that I'm not big enough. Right now I weigh 176 centimeters and 83, but I still feel small because they're wearing fitted clothing. I guess one solution I could give you with your clothes that don't fit your sleeves. You see the armpit area? Roll that up a bit, tuck it in, and then just put your arm down. You will notice a sheer difference to actually be fitting the sleeves. But then again, that requires manual effort because you have to physically do that. And I know you're not going to have your arms just down the whole time, right? So that's going to get annoying. And let's say you're doing boxing and you're throwing a jab. Eventually it's going to be flapping around again. So that's all the more reason why I recommend you get your clothes tailored, get clothes that actually fit you. And hey, maybe even drop your ego a bit. If you're a medium person and you can't afford the tailored clothes just yet, you know, get a size down, get a small. If it makes you look bigger, who cares? Who cares what size it is? So long as you look good. You're jacked already, so, you know. But yeah, that's the video I wanted to make for the people experiencing body dysmorphia. Understand that everyone has flaws, and most time it would be these bodybuilders on steroids who actually have some internal problems physically, but you're unable to see it because they sacrifice that for the sake of external perception of growth, to which you can see, and that's why they blow up on social media. But they're suffering inside. How's their blood work? These are the questions that don't get asked. How is their heart rate? How is their stamina? How is their mental health from taking those steroids? How is the quality of their sleep? It's very easy to fall into the trap where, because you're not seeing these internal factors that go into it. You're only seeing the external. So it's very easy to feel tempted to want to take steroids, and I'm telling you, you do not want to take steroids. Trust me. You do not want to shorten your lifespan. Trust me. You do not want to go through infertility. Trust me. It reduces your chance of having an offspring. Who wants that? You're good, man. You're good. Trust me. If you've been training for a few years, your physique's probably good. And I'm going to end off by saying this. If you feel insecure in some way, shape or form, it's probably because they're taking good lighting for their pictures and they use filters to edit the way they look. And most of them are insecure. They can't even go to an area with bad lighting. 2, you're probably wearing extremely poor clothing. By that, I mean one size fits all. So it doesn't fit everyone, it's off the rack. They're wearing fitted clothing at all times, which I recommend. Again, I mentioned this because we have body use. You clicked on this video, you probably have body dysmorphia. That's why it was on your feed and you clicked. So that's the second reason why you may feel insecure in terms of comparison. And third, they're just taking steroids, they're on fucking gear. You're natural. You're not going to progress as quickly as they do. They can literally lift up a chair that's probably like less than a kilogram and probably gain muscle because of the source. But it's a short window. The long game will always win. Remember that. The long game will always win. You're natural, you're good, man. Move this body dysmorphia. It's a lie, it's all a sham. The internet's fake, it's a sham. You're good, man. Trust me, you're good.